The sky above the Jarnock homeworld turned red. Fire and smoke rose from the cities. Their buildings, once tall and proud, were now broken and burning. Above them, hundreds of human warships floated in the sky, silent and still. Their black metal bodies blocked the stars. They came without warning, and they brought an end. Commander Varl stood in his palace, alone. His hands were shaking. His eyes were wide with fear. The great halls of his command center were empty now. No guards, no officers, just silence and the sound of distant explosions. The strong empire he once led was falling apart in front of him, piece by piece, world by world. He sent one last message to the humans. "Why?" he asked. His voice was weak. "Why did you hide your power? Why did you let us think you were weak?" There was a short pause. Then a reply came. A calm, cold voice answered, deep and steady. "Because we watched, we learned, and we waited. We gave you a chance. But now, it's too late." Commander Varl dropped the communicator. His knees hit the floor. The war was over. The humans had won. Not just on the battlefield, but in every way. They had turned the tables so fast, the Jarnock never had time to understand. They never even had a chance to fight back. Outside, human soldiers landed in the city. They moved quickly, taking control of buildings and systems. Their weapons were silent and deadly. They didn't destroy everything. They didn't need to. They only targeted the Jarnock military and leaders. It was a clean sweep. One by one, the last parts of the Jarnock Empire were erased. The great Jarnock Empire, once feared across the galaxy, was gone. No more rulers, no more fleets, no more flags. Only memory. Back on Earth, deep inside a hidden command base, the human generals watched it happen. The large screen showed the fall of the last enemy world. No one clapped. No one cheered. They had done what had to be done. And they all knew the cost. One general, an older man with a tired face, broke the silence. "It's done," he said. Another nodded slowly. "But it's not over." The others turned to him. He looked up at the screen again. "Others will come," he said. "They'll hear what we did. Some will fear us. Some will hate us. And some will try to test us." The room stayed quiet. Every person in that room understood. This was just the beginning. The galaxy now knew the truth about Earth, about humanity. That truth would spread, and it would bring more eyes, more enemies. But the humans were ready. For years, they had hidden their strength. They had studied the stars, watched the other empires fight, and waited for the right moment. They let the galaxy believe they were weak, slow, and backward. They let them laugh. They let them mock Earth's old technology and simple ways. But all that time, humanity had been growing, learning, preparing. And when the Jarnock came to invade, they didn't face a soft world. They faced a planet that had survived thousands of years of war, pain, and chaos. A planet that had grown stronger through every disaster. A planet filled with people who knew how to fight, how to survive, and how to win. Now the Jarnock knew that truth. Now the galaxy would know. Back on the ruined Jarnock homeworld, the stars were still blocked by human ships. But soon, those ships began to move. One by one, they disappeared into deep space. Earth had no wish to rule over others. They only wanted peace. But peace came with a warning. Do not attack Earth. Do not mistake silence for weakness. Do not forget what happened to the Jarnock. On every human ship, a message was sent out across the stars. Short, simple, final. Earth stands. Humanity endures. We are not weak. We are watching. From now on, every empire, every race, every world would remember. The humans were no longer the forgotten people of the galaxy. They were the storm in the dark, the hand behind the shadow, the danger hiding in plain sight. And Earth was no longer a simple blue planet. It was the most dangerous world in the galaxy. Commander Varl stood at the edge of the control room on his ship, high above Earth. His yellow eyes scanned the quiet blue planet below. It looked peaceful, almost lifeless. But something didn't feel right. They had sent a warning, a message of dominance. The humans didn't answer. No surrender. No response. No panic. Nothing. Varl frowned. "Are they too primitive to understand?" he asked. One of his officers replied, "Maybe their communication tech is broken." Varl didn't believe that. Something else was going on. To investigate, he sent 5 scout ships to different parts of Earth. Their job was simple: scan the cities, find leaders, and prepare the population for control. The Jarnuk Empire had done this many times before on weaker planets. It was routine. Easy. Quick. But this time, things went wrong. The first ship entered Earth's atmosphere and disappeared. A second ship landed in an empty city, then went silent. The third one sent a strange signal before vanishing. "What is this?" Varl snapped, his voice cold with anger. "Are the humans attacking them?" "No energy weapons detected," the officer said. "It's like they're just gone." Varl narrowed his eyes. He didn't like mysteries. He decided to send drones, machines with no pilots, to search for the missing scouts. The drones flew fast across Earth's skies. They scanned the ground. Cities were too quiet. Streets were empty. No signs of fear, no signs of war. It felt planned. Then one drone sent back a strange image. It showed a wall in a city with a painted symbol on it, a skull with lightning bolts behind it, and one word written in bold black letters. Need. Varl didn't understand. "What does that mean?" "It's in human language," another officer said. "We're trying to translate it." Before they could finish, the drone lost connection. Gone, just like the scout ships. Now Varl was angry. "Send a full ground force," he ordered. "Let them see our strength." 1,000 Jarnok soldiers landed in the center of a human megacity. New York. The tall buildings stood like silent watchers. The wind blew, but no people came. Not a single human could be seen. It was like a ghost city. The soldiers moved carefully. They scanned buildings. All were empty. They opened doors. Nothing inside. Not even animals. Just silence. And then, without warning, a voice came from hidden speakers, echoing through the streets. "You were warned. You didn't listen. Now you pay the price." Before they could react, explosions erupted across the city. Street signs folded into gun turrets. Lamp posts turned into missile launchers. Roads cracked open, revealing underground defense systems. Walls opened to release flying drones. They moved fast and hit hard. Jarnok soldiers screamed in panic. Their weapons fired back, but nothing worked. The humans had energy shields, cloaked traps, advanced systems, the kind of tech that Jarnok believed Earth couldn't build for another 500 years. "How is this possible?" an officer shouted. Commander Varl watched the battle feed with wide eyes. "This can't be Earth," he muttered. "This can't be the primitive world we saw." But it was. The humans had tricked them. For years, Earth had hidden its true power. They let the galaxy think they were weak. They let others laugh at them. But all that time, humans had been preparing. Underground labs, secret cities, hidden weapons, cloaked satellites. Everything ready. Everything waiting. Now, they had shown their real face. In a hidden command room deep beneath the ground, human leaders watched the battle. A woman in a dark uniform looked at the screen and smiled. "They took the bait," she said. Another officer nodded. "Just like we hoped." This was not just a defense. It was a trap. A plan made years ago, waiting for the first invader to walk into it. Earth was not surprised by the Jarnuk. Earth was ready. Across the globe, other human traps activated. Fake cities exploded with hidden weapons. Jarnock ships lost control as human satellites hacked their systems. Even space was not safe now. Earth's defense ring, camouflaged in orbit, fired high-energy beams. One Jarnock cruiser vanished in a flash of light. Varl was frozen. "What are they?" he whispered. No one answered. The Jarnock thought they were the hunters, but they were now the prey. The humans were not running. They were waiting, watching, and striking when the time was right. This was not a war for survival. It was the beginning of humanity's revenge. Commander Varl stood in silence, watching the screens inside his warship. The battlefield on Earth was a disaster. His elite ground troops were supposed to take the city in 1 hour, but now they were being hunted. The buildings of New York had turned into weapons. The roads, the walls, the air, everything was a trap. "This cannot be real," Varl muttered. "Earth should be centuries behind us." But the screens didn't lie. Jarnock soldiers were falling fast. One by one, their signals went dark. The weapons humans used were not old or weak. They were smart, fast, and deadly. Varl sent a new order: pull back all units, retreat to orbit. But there was no reply. Communication was dead. The human traps had reached even the sky. Outside Earth's atmosphere, something strange began to happen. Earth's satellites started to move, but these were not for weather or communication. They changed shape. Long panels unfolded. Hidden weapons appeared. "They're not satellites," one Jarnock officer said. "They're part of a defense grid." A bright red beam shot from one of the satellites. In seconds, it cut straight through a Jarnock cruiser. The ship exploded in silence, a fireball in the void of space. Another ship tried to turn and run. It didn't make it. 3 more beams fired. The ship cracked apart, spinning into Earth's gravity and burning up in the atmosphere. Now the Jarnock fleet was trapped. Inside the command room on Earth, human generals watched calmly. One of them leaned forward and said, "Initiate Phase 2. All across Earth, hidden military bases opened. Not just in America, but in every country." Giant machines rose from the ground. Dark, tall machines with sharp edges and glowing blue lights. They looked alien, but they were human-made. Underground launch bays opened, and sleek black ships flew into the sky. Small, fast, quiet, these were Earth's secret warships. No one in the galaxy had ever seen them before. One general smiled. Time to strike back. In space, the human ships moved like shadows. They didn't fly in lines. They didn't follow Jarnock patterns. They came from every direction. No warning, no mercy. The Jarnock fleet tried to fight back, but their systems were being hacked. Their engines failed. Their guns shut down. Some of their ships turned against each other, confused by false commands. Varl couldn't believe it. "We are the most powerful empire in this galaxy," he said. "How are they doing this?" His science officer replied, voice shaking, "Their tech is better. Their plan is perfect. They knew we would come. This was never a surprise attack. It was an ambush." Back on Earth, a message was sent to the Jarnock fleet. Simple, cold. Leave, or be destroyed. But leaving was no longer possible. Earth had locked the sky. Inside the Jarnock command ship, Varl stared at the main screen. He saw human warships circling, dozens of them. He could hear the cries of his soldiers, the panic, the fear. These were the same humans he had called primitive, the same species he thought would fall in minutes. Now, they were destroying his empire. He understood too late. The silence of Earth was not weakness. It was planning. The humans had seen other empires rise and fall. They had watched from the shadows, learning everything. How aliens fought, how they built ships, how they made mistakes. And humans remembered everything. They had united in secret, building weapons underground, sharing technology between nations. They let the galaxy laugh at them, ignore them, forget them. But they never stopped preparing. Now, that secret was over. The real Earth had awakened. In a final act of desperation, Varl ordered all remaining ships to form a wall and push through the human fleet. They moved together, 10 Jarnok ships side by side. Then the sky lit up. Human defense beams, orbital mines, stealth drones, all activated at once. The Jarnok wall shattered in less than 30 seconds. Varl stared in horror. The sky above Earth was not open. It was a weapon. He turned to his officers. "We were not ready for this." No one replied. The last Jarnok ship began to burn. On Earth, a human soldier picked up a fallen alien weapon. He studied it, then tossed it aside. "Not advanced enough," he said. Behind him, a human tank rolled forward, silent and smooth. It bore a single painted symbol, a skull with 2 lightning bolts. And the word beneath it, reclaimed. The trap was closed. The battle was won. But this was only the beginning. Commander Varl could only watch as the last of his fleet crumbled. The sky above Earth was filled with the wreckage of Jarnok ships, floating like broken toys. The humans had destroyed everything. The Jarnok Empire, once proud and powerful, was now nothing but a memory. A failed invasion. Varl had never felt such fear. His heart raced. His mind couldn't process it. How had this happened? How had a world he thought was nothing but a backwater planet taken down his entire fleet? His officers were silent. They stood frozen, staring at the screens. The truth was clear now. Earth had no intention of surrendering. Earth had been preparing for years. And now, the galaxy would know. Humanity was not weak. It was dangerous. The last Jarnok ship sent a message to Earth. "We surrender. We offer peace. Let us leave." The humans didn't respond. Instead, a new message came through. A simple message. Cold, direct, and full of warning. You had your chance. Varl didn't know what that meant, but he felt the weight of it. The humans weren't offering peace. They were offering judgment. Earth had waited. They had seen enough. And now, they were in control. Inside the human command base, the leaders were gathered. General Carter, the one who had led humanity's defense against the Jarnok, stood at the front. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. He knew the war wasn't over. It had only just begun. He looked at the team of scientists and military strategists around him. "Prepare the message," he said. A young officer stepped forward. "Sir, we've been analyzing the Jarnok's communication systems. We've found something strange." "What do you mean?" Carter asked. His interest piqued. The officer hesitated. "It's not just a warship. The Jarnok were testing us. They weren't just trying to take Earth. They were studying us." The room went silent. "We thought they came for conquest, but it seems they wanted to know if we were ready, to know if we could fight." And now, the officer trailed off. General Carter nodded slowly. "They'll come again. But next time, they won't underestimate us." Another officer added, "We can't just wait. We need to prepare. The galaxy will hear about this. If we stay silent, we'll be seen as weak. And the next invader might not be so kind." Carter agreed. "We need to send a message, one that's impossible to ignore." He turned to the communications officer. "Send it." The officer nodded and began typing. A moment later, the message was ready. "Humanity is not what you think. You will not find us weak again. This is a warning. If you invade Earth, you will fail, and you will fall." The message was broadcast to every corner of space. The Jarnok would hear it. And soon, the rest of the galaxy would know. Earth was no longer a planet to be ignored. It was a force, a power, a threat. Back in the Jarnok warship, Varl still couldn't believe it. His empire was gone. He was alone, surrounded by broken ships and wreckage. The Jarnok fleet had been shattered, but one thing was clear: Earth was not what it seemed. The humans had shown no mercy. They had waited. They had learned. They had fought with a power that Jarnock had never imagined. And now, Varl realized, they were more dangerous than any enemy he had ever faced. He stood in the command room, staring at the stars. "Why did we underestimate them?" he whispered. It was too late for answers now. On Earth, a new plan was already in motion. General Carter and his team were working to rebuild. They weren't just repairing the damage. They were building something bigger, stronger, more advanced. Humanity had proven its strength, but the galaxy wouldn't let them rest. Others would come. Others would try to conquer Earth. And when they did, they would face the same fate as the Jarnock. Humanity was ready. Back on Earth, people began to rebuild their cities. They were stronger now. The world had changed. No one looked at Earth as a weak planet anymore. The scars of war were still there, but they were a reminder, a warning to the galaxy. The humans had survived. They had fought, and they had won. As the sun set over a peaceful Earth, the message was clear. We are not weak. We are watching, and we will never fall. Weeks had passed since the fall of the Jarnock Empire. Earth was quiet now, but the silence was different. It wasn't the calm before a storm. It was the calm after victory. The scars of the battle still marked the cities, but humanity was rebuilding faster than anyone thought possible. On Earth, people didn't speak much of the war. They didn't need to. The message was clear. The galaxy had seen what humans could do, and that was enough. But far across the stars, the Jarnock were not the only ones watching. In the dark reaches of space, alien empires and warlords were already making plans. The galaxy was vast, and many of its leaders had heard the same message humanity had sent out. Earth was not weak. Earth had power, and some wanted to test that power. On a ship in deep space, Admiral Threx of the Xel'Nauk, a race known for their ruthless invasions, sat at the command table. He was large, with dark scales and glowing eyes. He had heard of the Jarnock's defeat, but he didn't believe it. The Jarnock were strong. How could a primitive world like Earth destroy them? Threx picked up a data pad. "Prepare the fleet," he ordered. His officers hesitated. "Sir, Earth is a world of savages. It cannot be what the Jarnock say it is. There is no way they are a true threat." Threx slammed his fist on the table. "The Jarnock underestimated them. I will not make the same mistake. Prepare to invade Earth." Far away, in the heart of a hidden human base, General Carter was not surprised when Earth's sensors picked up a fleet of Xel'Nauk warships moving toward the planet. The humans had been waiting for this. The message had been sent. The Xel'Nauk had heard it loud and clear. "They think we are weak," Carter said, his voice cold. "We will show them that they are wrong." The general stood up, his hands resting on the table. "We will not just defend Earth. We will end this before it even begins." Carter's team had learned something from the Jarnock. They had learned to be patient, to wait, and to strike when the time was right. This time, humanity wouldn't just defend their planet. They would show the galaxy what Earth was truly capable of. On Earth, the people were ready. They had no idea how large the Xel'Nauk fleet was, but they didn't need to. They knew their world better than any invader ever could. Humanity had prepared for this moment. Underground bases, hidden weapons, secret fleets, everything was in place. The traps were set. And now, the Xel'Nauk were walking straight into them. General Carter gave the order: activate the defenses. The first wave of Xel'Nauk ships entered Earth's atmosphere, expecting an easy victory. They were wrong. The skies above Earth lit up. The Xel'Nauk ships began to drop from the sky as the planet's hidden weapons activated. Large energy cannons fired from the ground, sending blasts of light into the sky. Space mines, camouflaged in orbit, detonated in perfect timing, ripping apart enemy ships as they tried to fight back. In space, human warships moved in fast, catching the Xel'Nauk fleet off guard. They came from every direction, silent and swift. No large battleships, no giant weapons, just small, quick ships that tore through the enemy fleet with ease. The Xelanok were overwhelmed. "What is happening?" Admiral Threx shouted. "These humans are everywhere. They knew we were coming." One of his officers screamed, "Their ships, they're not showing up on our sensors. How are they doing this?" General Carter's voice came over the comms, clear and steady. "You're not the first to underestimate us. You won't be the last." The Xelanok began to retreat, but it was too late. The human fleet surrounded them. They couldn't escape. Earth's defense systems were too strong. Their ships were too fast. The Xelanok were trapped. Back on Earth, people watched the battle unfold on their screens. There was no panic, no fear, only confidence. They knew the truth now. Humanity was no longer just a small, insignificant world in the galaxy. Earth was a planet that had survived, a planet that had fought, and a planet that had won. General Carter stood tall as he watched the final Xelanok ship explode in the distance. "This is just the beginning," he said. The galaxy would soon learn. Earth wasn't just a planet of humans. It was a world of survivors, a world that had fought against the odds and come out stronger. And now, no one would ever forget that Earth was not a weak world. It was the most dangerous planet in the galaxy, and humanity had only just begun. The Xelanok fleet was defeated, but the galaxy was still watching. The message humanity had sent out was clear, but not everyone had received it. Not yet. Earth's victory over the Jarnuk and the Xelanok had made waves throughout the stars. But there were still those who believed the stories of humanity's strength were nothing more than lucky coincidences. Those who still thought Earth was a primitive world to be conquered. General Carter knew the truth. There would always be another invader. But this time, Earth would not be caught by surprise. Humanity had shown what they were capable of, and now they would make sure no one ever underestimated them again. He stood before a large holographic map, the glow of the screen lighting his face. Around him, a team of strategists and officers waited. The plan was already in motion. "Prepare the fleet," Carter said, his voice firm. "It's time we show the galaxy what happens when you attack Earth." Across the galaxy, powerful alien warlords, ancient empires, and mysterious forces heard the rumors. Word spread quickly. Earth was not a primitive world. Earth was a danger to be feared. The human response to the Xelanok had made it clear Earth would never fall. But not all would listen. On a dark world in the far reaches of space, the Tarak, a race of merciless conquerors, were planning their own invasion. They had heard of the Jarnuk's failure and the Xelanok's defeat, but they were not afraid. The Tarak had conquered dozens of worlds, and Earth was just another planet in their way. Their leader, Korath, stood at the command console, his eyes narrowing as he watched the reports. "They say Earth has become a power," Korath sneered. "We shall see for ourselves." Korath gave the order to move the Tarak fleet. The invasion of Earth was imminent, but what he didn't know was that humanity had been waiting for this moment. General Carter and his team had known that sooner or later, another warlord would come to test Earth's defenses. But this time, they would make sure the Tarak didn't get the chance to attack. The Tarak fleet moved toward Earth, confident in their superiority. They were fast, their ships were powerful, and they had one of the largest fleets in the galaxy. But when they reached Earth's outer orbit, something strange happened. The fleet was stopped by a wall of bright, glowing energy. It came out of nowhere, covering the planet like a shield. The Tarak ships tried to push through, but the energy barrier was impenetrable. Their weapons couldn't break it. Their ships couldn't fly through it. Korath's eyes widened in disbelief. "What is this?" he growled. Back on Earth, General Carter watched the display with a calm expression. "They never learn," he said. The barrier was just the first line of defense. Hidden weapons across Earth's surface came online. Massive guns, powered by human technology, fired beams of concentrated energy into the Tarak ships. The invaders were caught in a trap. They couldn't retreat. They couldn't fight back. They had walked straight into Earth's prepared defenses. "We knew you would come," Carter's voice echoed across the communication channel to the Tarak fleet. "You should have listened for the Jarnock and the Excelnock. Earth does not fall." Korath, enraged, gave the order to attack. But it was too late. Earth's warships, small and fast, appeared from hidden launch bays. They tore through the Tarak fleet with ease, their advanced weapons ripping through enemy ships. The Tarak tried to fight back, but they were unprepared for the speed and precision of humanity's tactics. Earth's ships moved like shadows, appearing from nowhere and striking from all sides. General Carter watched as the Tarak fleet began to fall apart, their ships breaking apart in fiery explosions. "No one will ever invade Earth again," he said. Within hours, the Tarak fleet was destroyed. The remaining ships tried to flee, but they were tracked and eliminated. Earth had not only defeated another invader, it had sent a message to the galaxy. Earth was untouchable. On Earth, the victory was met with quiet pride. People didn't celebrate loudly, but they knew the truth. Earth had become the most powerful force in the galaxy.